Welcome, everybody.
Welcome,
Hello,
welcome.
guys.
Coming to you live from New York City.
Yeah, I was about to say, let's get some updated locations.
Yeah, so right now I'm at Miss Alyssa's apartment. She's making din. We're just gonna hang. Thought I'd record here. And yeah, things are going swell so far. This is only my because I got here Saturday and Sunday. So this is my third day here.
It's so exciting.
It's very hot, but it's good
Really?
so far.
Yeah, it looked like it was a hot one there today.
I know. It's been very hot and I've been sweating all over the place, but I'll get used to it. Dude, yesterday me and Alyssa were just like running errands and walking around. We walked 5 miles. Just
Really?
Like,
wow.
Yeah, like it was
Fit queen.
nothing. Dude, I know. We're gonna get skinny.
Oh, I need some more of that in my life.
I know, because I literally don't exercise. So I'm like, oh, the walking is good. But it's good because I feel like I'm gonna start sleeping better because I'm actually like active.
Yeah, you're like that's that's probably how New York works. It's like, functions that way.
Yeah. No crazy updates though. I mean, like I just got here. My room's all set up. Like I guess, yeah, because we didn't record last week. So the last time we talked, I was like, I'm like moving.
Yeah.
I was like crying, but
last night's chat was necessary and it was nice. How is it? Hi, Hannah, how are you? Like, what's up with you?
Yeah, what's
I'm
up?
good. I guess before the last time we recorded, it was before Memorial Day. So I went on my trip to Vegas, which was so much fun. Honestly, like, I'm not even joking, probably like top 5 favorite weekends ever in my life. It was so much fun. I think the only thing that would have made it better, honestly, is if like you guys could have been there and like we had more of like our group. But it was so much fun, like going with Cara. One of my guy friends was also there for a bachelor party, so we spent a lot of time with him. We got to see Loud Luxury live, which is like always something that I have wanted to do. This has been a dream of mine since Amanda put me on Body back in like 2017. And I was like, to hear this live, so awesome. And we were supposed to see them in Miami spring break last year, but then we couldn't because of COVID. So Cara texted me as I was driving to Atlanta to catch our flight. And she was like, yo, they're going to be in Vegas this weekend. And it was the day that we were leaving, but we were catching a flight that night. And she was like, we can go. It's going to be during the day. Like, we'll be fine. Cara was drinking water like all day because she had gotten like, she had a little too much to drink, I think like the night before or something. But I was like full sending it. I was like drinking these giant margaritas and like these huge bottles. And I was like, I'm going to go for it. Like full send. Last day in Vegas, ended up getting like blackout drunk at like 3:30. Called every person and their mother, I feel like, in my phone contacts. Literally had a full-on conversation with my dad that I don't even really remember. And then needless to say,
you had business to attend. Like,
yeah, like there are like two kinds of people when they're drunk. It's like the kind of people that literally just like, you have no idea where they are. They're never on their phone. They're just like, beat bopping around. Like you have like absolutely no idea what's going on with them. Then there are people like me who have just like an abundance of like word vomit. And I feel like I have to talk to every single person and all of this like shit just comes to light. And that's probably honestly why that's like probably, I don't get like that often for a reason. But it was so much fun. And I mean, like nothing bad ended up happening. Ultimately, I sobered up and Cara and I were sitting in our friend's hotel room. And I was like, yo, do you think we should get to the airport? Like, it's like 9:30 and our flight leaves in 2 hours. And she was like, no. Like, we'll get there an hour or like an hour before the flight leaves. We'll be fine. So we get there and like they closed like baggage check. So we couldn't check our suitcase. And I thought like, oh, maybe we can just put the bag on later and still get on flight. And they were like, no, actually, like you're going to have to just take an entirely different flight. So we ended up having to stay another full day in Vegas. And I say like it wasn't a bad issue at all. But we were just very exhausted and very broke by this point. So there wasn't much else that we wanted to do or that we felt like we needed to do. So I'm pretty sure the last full day we were there, which was like the extra day we had, we spent most of the day just at her condo and we watched like Shrek 2 and Bravo all day. And then ended up flying home that night, caught the red eye back, and landed at 7 a.m. the next day. And then I had to drive back to Charlotte. So it was a very long, exhausting weekend. And next time I'm just going to pay the extra money and fly out of Charlotte. I just can't. I can't do the 4-hour drive after a weekend like that just to save me some money. But it was so worth it. It was a lot of fun. So
yeah, it looked fun. Looked very fun. I wish I could have gone, but I had to save my money.
You had bigger plans.
no, I know.
Hannah, real quick, you might want to turn your Wi-Fi off on your phone because your video keeps breaking up. So like you might just want the Wi-Fi only on your computer or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I was telling Shayla earlier, I'm a little bit nervous about my power because it tends to go off during storms.
Oh, is it storming there?
Yeah, it's like storming really bad, but it flickered like a little bit when I first got home from work, but I think it should be fine. So
well, if you
fingers
cut out,
crossed.
it's fine. Just come back and just don't stop the recording. But hopefully it would come back on.
Yeah.
Let's go through the notes. So what did you guys write down? Because I don't think I wrote down any of this.
Oh. Okay, I wrote down drunk stories. I wrote down something about Call Her Daddy, and then I saw something about a Skims.
Well, what's the stuff about Skims? Let's start at the top.
Okay, so I was on Hulu the other day and I was watching this new show called High Fidelity, and it has Zoe Kravitz in it. She's the lead, and it's a really good show. It's one season, and during the show, like Hulu now features like Skims commercials, and it's so wild to me because I don't feel like I've ever seen some sort of like a celebrity have like a big time like commercial like that. I feel like those kinds of commercials
wasn't she on a T-Mobile commercial? And she was like, she was like,
well, wasn't that like a Super Bowl ad though?
Yeah, no, it wasn't her
Yeah.
thing, but like she was on it. I just thought that was funny.
It's so funny. I forgot about that tragic T-Mobile commercial.
Here's the thing about the Skims commercial I saw on TikTok. Like Kim was running her finger across her body, and her finger like complete like that video is so distorted.
And
like,
so
edited.
So I saw the Skims ad first, right? And I wrote down that note, and then I saw that TikTok, and I believe you're the one that sent it to me. And so when that Skims commercial ran again, I saw it in the actual commercial, and I was like, "Holy crap! Like this is so wild." So my thing was like the decline of commercials. I feel like even on Hulu, nobody even watches them. But like the fact that Skims like kind of landed a huge like ad time on Hulu is like wild to me. But then the whole thing with her like literally photoshopping her commercial and like her body, I'm like, what? Like she has an unreal body as it is, you know? So like I just don't get it.
I don't get why she had to edit. Like it didn't even look like it was just like that little extra bit. And also whoever was editing it knew that they did that. How could they not think that the finger would move? How could they have not caught that? Like you're a professional video editor and you missed that huge thing.
Do you guys see those like conspiracies that like the people that work for the Kardashians, like they're convinced that they hate them because like they're involved in so many different like scandals and everything, and you're like, does their PR team just like not care for them or whatever? Like it's just crazy. It was like the whole same thing with like Kendall Jenner and like her being like appropriating like other cultures. They're like, how did no one notice that, you know? Like
Pepsi Gate.
Yeah, like how
Pepsi Gate. That will forever just be like, I think honestly, like, I think that's, I mean, they've made a lot of poor decisions, like with how Skims was originally kimono.
Yeah.
And like a lot of other issues. But I think Kendall in the Pepsi commercial is like definitely like top 5, maybe worst brand decisions they've ever made.
Ever. Like, that was so bad.
Racial inequality, give them a Pepsi. Like, oh no.
And like get Kendall Jenner to be a part of it. Like,
yeah, like she's the savior of all, like the highest paid model. Like she'll fix it.
Right.
She probably was like, this is my perfect entrance into being like woke with my like, you know, following. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
No.
It's Pride Month. Happy Pride Month.
Happy Pride Month, everybody. It's so exciting.
I think the funniest thing I've seen is that like all the like big corporate companies and everything are like, I don't know, instead of like donating and spreading awareness, it's like, oh, we can offer you the same product but in rainbow
with glitter,
It's like,
you know,
dude,
like, yeah.
everyone's like, okay.
It's kind of tone deaf sometimes, I feel like, you know.
Yeah, it's a whole lot of nothing is what it is. I mean, maybe, hey, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they're doing more than we see, but it's just like it's just a whole bunch of rainbow, and it's like, all right, anything else?
Yeah, and it's like the second July 1st hits, it's like, cut it. Cut the cameras.
Oh my
Who
God. I
wrote
went
this?
to the
Oh, go ahead.
What's CHD?
I went to 2 years ago when I was in New York. I went to the Pride Festival there. Wait, sorry, what did you say? Oh, okay.
Continue.
2 years ago when I was in New York interning, I went to the Pride Festival there and it was a lot of fun. Apparently, I know like Atlanta has one that's obviously like really big. Never been to that one and I've always wanted to go. Charlotte has one of its own too, but I'm not actually sure if it's taking place this month or not, but definitely want to check that out.
I asked, what's CHD?
Color Daddy.
Oh.
And I wanted to say this because I was thinking about this the other day. And I was like, back when we first started the podcast, I remember being like, I mean, I guess everyone was invested in the whole Color Daddy drama. And I remember like I used to actually listen to them when they first started their podcast. And I was like a little younger and I guess a little more immature. But now that I realize like it's actually really, really toxic and the advice on that show is shit. It's so bad and it like promotes a very, very toxic culture of like tearing down other people and like how other people perform things and like the way they go about relationships. And whenever I hear people say that they're like such Color Daddy stands now, it like freaks me out a little
really
bit because
cringy.
it's very cult like and it's very aggressive, you know? Like I don't get it.
And I feel like it kind of started out like when I used to listen to it a little bit, but and I was like, oh, it's kind of empowering, kind of like, you know, taking control of certain situations. But now I'm like, it is toxic, and I don't know. I get so not offended, but I get annoyed when people are like, oh, your podcast is like Call Her Daddy. I'm like, first of all, that means you never have listened to an episode of our podcast because we it's nothing like it. Second of all, I don't want to be like that. I mean, good for them. They're like, hey, they're obviously doing great, but like I don't want to. I don't like when people say that just because it's like because we're a couple girls doing a podcast. Like, we're nothing like that.
I had a guy that I was like seeing. Like he like, oh, I feel like it kind of reminds me a little bit about Call Her Daddy, and I was like, But then also I had this guy come up to me. We literally just like went on like one date or something, and I saw him like the next day, and he was like, oh, I heard you had a podcast. Like, are you going to talk about me on it? And I mean, like, obviously I'm bringing it up now, but like, that was just like the worst assumption is I was like, honestly, you wish, like you would wish that it was significant enough for me to like actually mention that. I wasn't obviously going to say something until he brought that up, but it's just like, it was just like the assumption, I feel like, and it was just so weird. I was like, I mean, obviously we talk about like dating and like our personal lives and stuff, but I'm not going to like air out all of my like romantic escapades. Like that's just like not it.
I feel like it's only worth bringing up if they like really fuck up or really do something crazy.
No, and it's
like, I don't know if it's like an really bring story.
It up. I only bring it up if it's severe emotional damage. Otherwise, there's like no point.
Yeah. But no, I saw a TikTok the other day that like prompted that note and I was like, why did I listen to that? Like it's such bad advice and it's just like, ugh.
I feel like sometimes they're like what they say can be obviously it's all entertaining to a certain extent, whether it's your cup of tea or not. But I feel like some advice can be good, but most of the time, I don't know.
I feel like
it's not the best like
I feel like
to go by.
It prompts people to like want to be more like unfiltered and being like, oh, I don't give a fuck, but you're actually just being rude and kind of insensitive to some people. And I'm not saying like, oh, you have to be like catering to everyone else's needs, but like in the end, in my opinion, I just do feel like that people who like are such stands, and again, maybe that's not everyone. The idea of the show makes me feel like you're just kind of rude and just like don't really, I don't know.
Yeah.
I
like,
watched
to a certain extent you should respect like I don't know, how guys treat you and yourself, and you should
Yeah.
care. Like, I do understand that, oh, sometimes you shouldn't give a fuck and you shouldn't care about things and you should be free, but to a certain extent, yeah, you should give a fuck. Like, Jesus.
Yeah. Anyway, I want to moving into like social media, that kind of thing. Who wrote Victoria Paris'
Me.
Spiraling? You
Me.
did.
Because
What's
this
up?
bitch literally, me and Alyssa were talking about this. Victoria Paris just doesn't sit right with me.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I like, it's not like I'm taking this huge stance like I hate her, she's awful. She just is annoying me right now. And like, I don't know. She's constantly like, I don't know. I don't want to say anything that's like too mean, because I honestly, I don't really watch her content. The only things I've seen that are coming up is when she's like complaining about hate comments. And I saw something where it was like deleting hate comments and deleting criticism is like a good thing. It's good for your mental health. But then also, like, you subject yourself to, whatever, like millions of people on TikTok, however big your audience is, you have to roll with the punches sometimes. And I feel
Mm-hmm.
like, there are always going to be trolls. There's always going to be mean people. And it's like, you either should handle it with a little bit of like maybe just humor or ignore it. And if it is something that's like really damaging and toxic, yeah, delete it. But anytime someone says anything about her, she's like blocked. And
Yeah.
it's like, dude, you are on a place like TikTok. Like, I don't know. And she just kind of seems like she's probably, oh, this is what got me. She was like, people are have false allegations against me, and you'll be hearing from my legal team.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I saw
Bitch,
that.
that's not
So
a thing. You don't have a
yeah,
legal team. You do not have a legal team. And if you are going to hear from a lawyer, it's not through an Instagram DM. It's through a cease and
exactly.
desist letter. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, dude, just relax a bit. I don't know. I don't know.
So I 1,000% understand where you're coming from. I do. But that one TikTok that you sent me where it was like you can filter your own comments and do whatever you want with that. If you don't want to see the hate comments, go for it. I see that and I understand it, but like you said, Amanda, you're on this huge platform. You can't run away from it forever. And I do feel like a lot of people do have like a big like thing against her because she is known for blocking people if like you leave some sort of a comment that she doesn't per se like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Personally, like I do not like to keep up with the drama of like I didn't see that that legal team TikTok until someone else reposted it and I was like, what the fuck
Because I
happened?
think she deleted it because everyone was probably like, bitch, what the fuck? You don't have a legal team. You're not
Exactly.
Disney.
And it's like when I think about it, I did love her content and sometimes I still do, but I do not like to keep up with whatever else she's doing other than like her little mini vlogs throughout the day. Anything that starts like drama, I'm not interested anymore because I almost feel like it's such a waste of time. And like in this kind of TikTok fast-paced culture, these kinds of things are thrown out the window all the time. And then everyone forgets about it the next week. And it's like you either love them or you hate them. And like that's the end all be all.
See,
But the
and that's the
season,
thing,
the
like
legal team thing was so dramatic though. I'm like,
the
what was the
drama.
point of that?
Yeah, and like again, I hate taking a stance of whether like, I love this person or I hate them,
Yeah.
because it's like, yeah, some of her content I like and it's like entertaining, but part of me just gets annoyed by her. And like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I know she's like a big
No,
thing,
I get it.
and I'm not judging her content. It's just like, I don't know. I don't know. I guess I'm saying a whole bunch of nothing right now, but
Well, I mean, my
my
thing is I
thoughts.
kind of went through that phase with are you guys familiar with Brianna Chicken Fry and she like works for
Yeah, she was cool. I
Yeah.
liked her. And then she joined
yeah.
Barstool, and now she's annoying as fuck.
That's where I like 1,000% agree with you. I used to love her content. She was so entertaining. I felt like she was very relatable. And then it was like she joined Barstool and like here's the thing, I can't hate her for it because like I got to respect the hustle. Like she wanted a
Yeah,
one-way ticket out
again,
and like
like,
that's it, you
you have
know?
an amazing job. Get that
Yeah.
bag. Do what you have to do. I respect it, but I'm also allowed to dislike you
Not
and
really
make fun
like
of you
it.
if I
Yeah.
want. Like, I
Yeah.
guess. I don't know.
To each their own, I guess.
Hannah, I see you wrote down, and we don't have to talk about it if you don't want, but I see you wrote
Yeah.
down like, you know, criticizing yourself for like drunk decisions, and I actually think that could be an interesting thing we could talk about.
Yeah. Um, I mean, I so Kayla and I FaceTimed last night because like Amanda had just gotten to New York and we just wanted to like catch up. We talked about this a little bit. I have like always had this issue and I don't know why, but I think it's just like I think it has a lot to do honestly with like my parents and like just kind of these ideas that they instilled on me from like a very young age where it's like I feel like I've continuously kind of always together like, and that has really always filtered in with like the way that I drink. Like I love going out and I, you know, am like known to be like a bougie bitch and spend like $18 on a cocktail, but I'm not typically the one that's like ripping shots and getting like super blackout drunk. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like honestly, to each their own. And there were definitely
Well, to a certain extent, it's damaging. Like, there's
yeah,
nothing wrong
and
having
there
a good
were
time, but to a certain extent, like that can be a bad path.
yeah. And there, I think it always was like kind of like an issue for me in college where it was like people would almost be like, you're like, there would be some incidences where I would be like practically like dead sober. And I honestly would be like, this would be more fun if I was as drunk as like the rest of my friends. But it's almost just like there were like a lot of issues that happened for me, like when I was like a freshman, sophomore in college and wasn't 21 and was kind of learning how to like socially drink in college where I would make a lot of really regrettable decisions. And I think from that point on, I was just like, I just can't do this. Like, even when
Yeah.
even now, as I'm older and know how to like handle my liquor more, it's just like still an issue for me of like, and this is not a bad thing. Like, it's obviously good, but I had an issue this past weekend where I definitely like drink more than I typically do. And I had a great time. It was a lot of fun, but I said and did some things that left me the next day with like a lot of anxiety, and it left me feeling like not good about myself. And it wasn't even that bad. Like, it was nothing that I owed anyone an apology over. It was just like I got in this like spiral of like being like, why did I do that? Like, I'm so stupid. Like, I should not have had that much to drink. But in the end, like, it was still a really fun night. And I kind of like had to step away and be like, I'm literally 23. Like, I don't ever get like this. It's not like I have an issue. I did something that a lot of people do every weekend. And like, I should just be able to go out and have a good time and not like regret that or feel ashamed the next day.
Do you
And,
know
like,
what
go ahead.
I was going to say, do you know what I think this is? I think you're more regretful and you feel like this the day after is because like this isn't really the best environment maybe for you.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like toxic. And I just feel like you would thrive in a better place. Like, do you know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
feel like that's why you feel all these like regrets and all these like, oh my God, I shouldn't have done this. Oh my God, I shouldn't have done that. Like, why, you know?
I think that could be it. I think, a little bit, because it's not like you drink a ton and you get like black all the
Yeah.
time. Like, and like I think I guess just speaking from my personal experience, like I feel like I was I was drinking past the extent of like having fun, and it was almost like a coping mechanism, not like alcoholism or anything like that, but it's just like when I went out it was all or nothing. And
Yeah.
part of it could have been because environment, part of it just could have been because it was like this pattern that I kept up, that it just like it was something I kind of had to train myself out of. And I don't know, like, again, there's nothing wrong with like having a crazy night and going all out, but I think when there's a constant cycle of anxiety and regret, even when it's nothing big, I think that's when you need to take a look and just be like, you know what, it's always gonna be like work, it's gonna be hard work to put in, but it's like, you just have to change your behavior.
One thing I was going to say is I do think that you're very right about the environment. Like, I really think it's like, I don't know, because you've known it for years. And I think like Amanda would agree too. You've never really seen me black out or that drunk that many times.
Okay, well, if I
Have
yeah,
you?
I haven't seen you blackout drunk that many times, but like I'm just thinking about the times I have, and it's just funny.
No, No, but I mean, I'm not one of those people where it's like
No, you're
I'm drunk and
definitely
I'm an
not.
issue. Yeah.
Yeah. I've definitely been through the phase of I am drunk and I am the issue.
Yeah.
Like
I
Hannah,
know,
you
and
know
I've
firsthand. Like
I've been
and
there
I
too. Yeah,
yeah.
I've been there too. Like I typically it has to do with when there's too much alcohol involved
Yeah.
and it's like one of my ex-boyfriends or a guy that I'm not on the
Yeah.
best terms with, and then
It's just a stressful
it's
situation.
just stressful, and I'm also like an anxious drinker, and I think that's something that I've sort of grown out of, but it's still
Mhm.
like an underlying issue for me where it's like if I know someone to be at a party or be at a bar, and maybe that's not necessarily a person I'm thrilled to be seen, I will like drink to like overcompensate for the
Yeah.
anxiety. And
For
then it just
sure.
ends up kind of like biting me in the ass. But
Yeah.
I think it's also the environment too, because I know that if I were like that drunk with you guys, I would be fine. Like,
Yeah.
I remember when, well, you weren't here, but when Amanda and Cara were here for my birthday weekend, like the night before my party, we were like taking shots of tequila. Like we were
Mhm.
all feeling it. We were having a great time, but it was so much fun. And I knew that we were like all like feeling what we were drinking, but we were all still having a great time. There was obviously no drama, no issues the next day. And we all agreed like it was a great night. And, um, like that was like a great environment to be in. I
Yeah.
think the issue that I have that leaves me feeling like this is when I get in these situations where I've had a lot to drink, but I'm with certain people that make me feel like I'm an issue almost when I'm not.
I
And like
agree
I know,
1,000%.
like granted, I am like always like you can easily guilt me into making me feel like something's my fault when it's not almost all of the time. I'm like the first person to apologize. I'm the first person to try and see it from the other person's point of view and
Mhm.
be like, maybe I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have said that. But I have learned that there are obviously times where I fuck up because of alcohol and I own
Mhm.
up to that. Does that happen often? No. But more so,
Yeah.
what leaves me feeling this way is because I'm in an environment with people that like make me feel like I constantly have to be apologizing
And you
for
constantly have to feel like
nothing.
you're meeting like their level, like, okay, I feel like I can be friends with them. Like they'll accept me into this group. And I feel like that's what's kind of
Yeah. And
just
like,
a dark cloud over you, you know?
yeah. And like I don't want to make it seem like there's like tea. Like there's like absolutely like
No.
nothing that anyone even really did this weekend or said to me to make me feel like I was in the wrong. It was just like I don't know, like in the moment, I thought saying something or acting out on something was the right thing to do, knowing in the back of my mind that it was going to leave me the next day feeling like shit, but I did it
Yeah.
anyway. So I need to just, like you said, like when we were talking last night, like remember how it makes me feel the next day, the next time I want to say something or do something or act on any of these thoughts and remove myself from the situation enough to be like, this probably is
I
not the
mean,
smartest decision for me.
it goes back to what Amanda said that like she literally had to
Yeah.
like you had to train yourself like out of it.
Yeah.
And I mean, like I feel that like same. I remember when y'all, I remember binge drinking so much when I had first moved to Athens. And I was like, this is just not, I can't do this anymore.
It's
And
not the vibe.
it's not the vibe, you guys. Like, it's just not healthy and it was not good for my mental health. And I remember I was like in a really, really bad place in my life at that time. And I remember, I think I've mentioned it on the podcast before, even if you like, want to just take a break from drinking and not go fully sober or anything. Lauren Elizabeth has this podcast and it's Mood with Lauren
Yeah.
Elizabeth. And she has this episode where she talks about how she went fully sober and she was never by any means an alcoholic. But she kind of, I guess, like in comparison to our situation, she was like, literally, I felt like such shit the next day. I felt horrible. I felt like everyone hated me. The anxiety got to me. And it's just not really how I wanted to navigate my life. And like, I guess she took the drinking out of all of her social situations and kind of got back to the root of why she was even there. And like before, she would say, like, yeah, I was going there just to impress a guy. And then I would get like blackout drunk. And then, you know, it just didn't work out in the end for her. And she went completely sober, and like she never had like a horrible issue with alcohol. But I do think that a lot of people our age, especially in college and then right after college, have a bad relationship with that because that's all you're surrounded by.
Like, I agree with that statement. Like, it's not, I think it's important to like realize, like, nip it in the butt before it becomes an issue. Because obviously we went to UGA, which was party school, lots of drinking, lots of bars. Like, that was the culture of it. And I feel like if you can't, I don't know, like if you continue that and it starts affecting you, like, I guess what I said before I cut out, like, you just need to change your behaviors a little bit and realize, like, okay, it's not a problem, but it seems like it's becoming a problem. Maybe I should change it a little bit, you know, which, you know, like you were saying, if it's in just maybe not surrounding yourself with the same people or something like that could fix it.
Cause I was like telling Shayla, I was like, when you and Cara were here for my birthday, like I had a lot to drink that weekend because obviously I was celebrating, but I never like, I wasn't regretful the next day. Like, if anything, it was like one of the most fun weekends that I've had here in a long time, but it was because I was with my best friends and people that like made me feel like secure and fine. And like, you know, people that know that I'm not like some raging partier that's like an issue when she's drunk. Like, that's never, that's happened a few times.
At least for me, like, I've never seen you get to a point where I'm like, Hannah, you need to stop. Like, I've never seen that from you.
And thank God. But no, I think I need to just be more like hyper aware of my situations. And it's like, there are certain people that when I'm drunk around them, like it amplifies things for the worst. And when they're not around and I'm that drunk, I notice that I have significantly a way better time. So I think I just have to like know that if there's a possibility that I'm going to be on the latter end of that and like not be in a good situation, then I need to just accept that for what it is and either just take it or remove myself from it. But it's like, you know, I'm like an anxious drinker and that's like the worst combination, I feel like. So I need to like not be trying to like somehow lessen the anxiety by drinking, because while it might help in the moment, it makes it like 10 times worse the next day.
Yeah, the anxiety would kill me the next day. Ooh.
Yeah. But I think,
oh my God, no, the anxiety, there's been like several instances like the last few weeks where like the anxiety was so bad and I was like, dude, I just like can't do this. And there were like some incidences where like I just didn't go out at all one weekend and I was way more productive on Sunday because of it, and like wasn't hungover, like didn't have any anxiety at all, and it all felt like great. And like, yeah, I don't know. So it's just like a learning lesson.
You being
obviously
in this mindset, like telling yourself this, like, hey, I don't like how I'm acting. Like, it's not a major problem, and like I'm not an alcoholic, but I think I want to change the way like I feel. That's the first step, and that's the best thing you can do right now. And
yeah,
you know, so you're good, dude. Don't worry.
You're
like
good.
I know the anxiety because like we've all been there. I mean, and everything, and how you think you acted is always worse than how you really acted.
This is true. That's my favorite reminder you give me, Amanda. And you are the one person I know that always says this, is that it's way worse in your head. Like no one actually cares.
Because Emily would always tell me that.
Yeah. And I think about all the shit that I've seen other people do to me when they're drunk. I'm like what I did or like what I think I did on the spectrum compared to others is nothing. So like, I just, also remind myself of that.
And also remember, if you're with real friends, no matter what you do, real friends don't judge you, no matter how far you go or how far you take it. Like, I don't know. I feel like I was always that friend in college, but like any of my friends like that ever like got too drunk and did something, I was always like, dude, like you just got too drunk. It's not a big deal. Like you're not a different person. I don't judge you for it and stuff. So that goes into the whole surrounding yourself with the right people.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
All right.
Anything else you guys want to say? Sorry, I cut out there. I had to pull up
That's
Zoom
okay.
on my phone.
You'll have
We're
a
probably
nice
gonna
little
have a lot of-
conversation.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of trial and error while I'm here because my whole Wi-Fi service situation is gnarly, but I'll make it work. Don't worry.
Trial and error, sister. We'll figure it out one day.
We'll figure it out. Anyway, I guess that's all we need to talk about. A nice quick little episode this week. Thanks everyone for listening. As always, watch on YouTube, stream and download, and everything else.
Yep.
Toodles.
Bye, guys.
Bye.